Welcome to We'll Sleep When We're Dead intro, everybody. It's just Sam today because I had some wild and crazy travel today and we just couldn't get us together, but that's okay. I'm happy to do this intro by myself because we have Meghann Featherstun on the podcast today. She is the mind creator and mom behind Featherstone Nutrition. She's a sports dietitian, which you will hear me totally fumble my words on that on this episode. But anyway, you guys, if you've been here a while, you heard my marathon journey. Lucy even came to visit me. But obviously, if you don't know about marathon running, you've heard us talk that fitness is like so important to Lucy and I. And so this at first glance might seem like it's just about running, but it's totally not. We do get into a lot of running, carb load, nutrition, because that is what I used her for when I did my marathon running. It like worked like magic. But I also wanted to chat with her because we know our community is super into health and fitness. And she just talks about just in general how to fuel being a mom, even if you're not even working out, just like you need fuel to do the daily activities of being a mom. We also chat about her journey because once again, we have this amazing guest that we didn't really know her story, but she bet on herself. And now here she is, like super successful. So anyway, we hope you love her. And if you are ever training for anything, literally even like a little 5K, she has so much information on how to eat and fuel for the races. And take my word for it, it works. So anyway, Meghann Featherstun, you can find her at Featherstone Nutrition on Instagram and on her website. And we even found out that she has a podcast called Fuel for the Soul that she talks all about this, which is so fun. So she was so easy to talk to. We loved her. Please share. Remember to subscribe to all of our stuff, please, as we continue to grow. We just hit our year and we were loving it. So that really helps us. And share with anybody out there that you think would training or need some help with fueling because it's amazing. Hope you enjoy. Okay. All right. Well, welcome you guys to We'll Sleep When We're Dead.
Welcome, welcome.
We have a fun new guest today, Meghann Featherstun. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for having me. I can't wait to chat all things.
All things.
I know it's wide ranging today.
It
So
is.
it's almost as if you don't know what you're going to get, which is kind of exciting.
Keep me on my toes, please.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to give the listeners how I know you. And thank you so much for being on. I found you 2 or 3 years ago, I think. And I don't know. I was really racking my brain before you were on today. I think this is right. I feel like Emily Oster might have talked about you.
Yes.
Do you have, okay.
Yep.
I was like, all things for me lead to Emily Oster at times because I'm a mom of 3. But as I was thinking, I was like, no, I think
Yeah.
like 2. Okay. So that
That
sounds.
checks out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
What
like
was
randomly,
the context?
well,
'Cause
she
she's a
randomly
huge
started
runner.
following me. And I'm
Yes.
like, Emily Oster is following me? Like her books were my Bible when my
Yes.
children were little. And
Totally.
I was like, holy cow. So I immediately started following her back. And then she reached out and she's like, I really need help with my nutrition. So we worked together on that. And then, yeah, so like occasionally she'll like plug me on her stuff. And then I get like 100 new followers. And I'm like, God, Emily's followers are loyal.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. This is
She's
me.
on our manifestation board, Meghann.
Yes.
So
Oh.
I'm just letting you know we're
She is
never
wonderful.
short on reaching out to Emily Oster because we would
No.
love to have her on. But
Okay, so my mom brain, I'm really
Yeah.
happy that tracks because basically, so like 2 or 3 years ago, I think she was talking about you, and then I immediately went to follow you. I wasn't quite into running yet, but then your Instagram is just like the most amazing wealth of knowledge. And at that time, it's Featherstone Nutrition. So you are the face, the brain, the founder behind this, to me, the most amazing, valuable for a runner. But at the time, all I got from you, which I think you'll get a kick out of it, was graham crackers. That was like
Yes.
what I got. Okay. So I was like not an avid runner, but I was like, man, I'm so sick of my bananas pre-workout. So I now have stocked up on graham crackers. So now, so fast forward though, then I moved here and I decided to run the New York City Marathon. And you've always like been in the feed, but then you were like the big, and we're going to get into it. Like your Instagram account for me as a new runner is where you go when you're like, I don't know how to do this. And you make it so accessible. So thank you, because I literally knew how to like, you just make all of your information, like how to carb load, everything that we're going to get into. So we are so excited to have you. You're also a mom of two, which honestly, like you're kind of this amazing guest for us. You're a mom, you've created this amazing business, and you're sports dietetics.
Dietitian. Yeah.
Sports dietitian. But
Yeah.
you're okay. So anyway, so you
Yeah.
have like such a wealth of knowledge that we're so excited to get and chatty with you. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad our worlds collided somehow. You know, there's always a story. It's lovely.
It is. It is. And then, yeah. So anyway, let's catch everybody up, because I read a little bit on your bio, but I didn't realize that you were later into running. And I find this kind of fascinating. So catch everybody up, like how you got into everything that you're doing. You've built such a big brand. You have this knowledge base. And then on top of that, you're running miles every day, which is so impressive. So catch everybody up to speed.
It just, you know, it's like the glue that holds my life together. If I can continue to run, it's my escape, which, you know, we can get into here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, and stumbled upon the major of dietetics in college. So you were close when you said sports dietetics and then sports dietitian.
I was like, that, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I have a podcast, but words are not my thing, to be honest.
You know,
so,
depending on the day and how hard I've run, words sometimes don't come to me either.
Dietetics doesn't fall off my tongue properly. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So you were right. Okay. And I was like, the exercise science classes, all the science class I love, nutrition. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but sure. So I like signed up for that and just fell in love with my classes. Like I've always been a good student and, you know, love to learn. So it wasn't shocking to me, but it's so nice to find things that like you actually want to go to class for when you're in college, you know? So yeah, it just kind of stuck. And then again, I was like, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with this. I was like, I guess I'm going to work in a hospital. So you have like an internship and work in a hospital. And that was when running kind of came into my life, because I've always been a very goal-oriented person. So it was like, okay, you get to college, you graduate, you do well at college. Then I went to grad school and an internship and became a dietitian. And I was like, this is just what we do now. We just go to work and come home. I was like, this is boring. So I was like, I'm going to run a marathon. So I think I was 25 or 26 and I was living downtown Cleveland, and the marathon started like 2 blocks from my apartment. So I was like, sure, let's try it. I'd never run a race in my life, never a 5K, never pinned a bib on my, I was like, this was insane to start here, right? And looking back, I don't know that I would have ever run a marathon if I would have run a half first. I think I would have been like, absolutely not.
I think that's where I am. So I think that feels right for me. So maybe I did it wrong, but anyway, we can diagnose that later.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember getting to the half point of my first marathon and being like, I have to do this again. Like, this is only halfway. So, you know, that's where that comes from. And, you know, I crossed the finish line and swear I was like seeing dead people. I felt horrible. Like I was just like, people do this for fun. And then as I started like walking and feeling better, and I was like, holy shit, like I just accomplished this. Like it was like the highest feeling ever. And then you get that whole like, but I could do better if I knew what I was doing. So that's when I kind of put on my dietitian brain, because I was like, this is crazy. Like I maybe took one gel out there. I only had water, and I'm a crazy heavy salty sweater. So I kind of dove into the hydration research and dove into the carb loading and the carbs. And I was like, I did this all wrong, like completely wrong. And then I was thinking, and granted, this was 2009. So like running wasn't nearly as popular as it is now. There was no information out there about nutrition and runners. So I kind of just threw myself into the research, because that's just kind of how my mind works. And I was like, you know, trying it on myself, trying different things. And I was like, took 25 minutes off my marathon time. And granted, part of it was just, you know, trying harder. But then I think a lot of it was like doing the right things and training with nutrition and hydration. And I was like, holy cow. And then it started thinking like, I don't think people really know this. So then over the next like 5 or 6 years, I worked towards getting like the special certification in sports nutrition. And again, there was none in Ohio at that point. I think there's probably 50 of us in Ohio now, you know, so it was just like the very beginning of kind of understanding and connecting all these pieces and parts. So that's what eventually kind of got me to do the Featherstone Nutrition. I was like, this is a huge need, and I'm passionate about helping other people because I see how this helped me. Right. And it just kind of started as a like, let's see what happens here. Like it was never like we're going to build a thriving business. It was like, let's just see what happens, you know? So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible.
So did you immediately go to the Instagram to build it, or did you kind of do it on your side, or did you do it like simultaneously? Because I obviously found you on Instagram.
Yeah. So this is the funny part. I actually had a physician locally that ran in the Olympics, and he was referring all of his collegiate runners to me that had low ferritin, like low iron stores. And I was like not charging him, like using it as hours towards getting my certification and stuff. And he was like, Meghann, this needs to be a business. Mind you, I was at home with my, let's see, he would have been 22 months old and a 2-week-old. My kids were a little close. And he's like, start a business. And I looked at him and I was like, Doctor, I have a 2-week-old at home. I haven't slept. I have another child under 2. Like, I can't even think about what to name this. And I was just hung up on the name. And he was like, Featherstone Nutrition. That's what you're going to call it. Get your LLC right now. So I was just like in this sleep deprivation. So that's where the name came from. Like, he told me to name it that. And I was just in like such the throes of like postpartum.
We love everything that happens when we're sleep deprived. We did this. We created this podcast when we were sleep deprived. We created a business. It's like kind of incredible what women can do in that phase. It's insane.
Yeah. Men just faceplant into the ground and we somehow build empires.
It's unbelievable. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you're doing all these things. You have this amazing business. You have 2 kids. You're running a household. You're running miles and miles and miles every week. Okay. We are not a fan of balance, the word balance.
God, I love
on
you
this
guys.
podcast. No. I think she was like one of our first 2 guests, right, Sam? Mm-hmm. Introduced this idea of like integration, work-life integration, which we loved the branding of that. And we've essentially used that now a year later. I'm curious, like, what does a day or a week look like for you to fit in all of these pieces that are so critical for you?
It's absolutely chaotic. I'm not going to lie. Like when people are like, how do you do that all? I'm like, I'm not sure. Each day is a new day and we keep trying really hard. But yeah, like I hope I don't make it look easy because it's not, I think sometimes Instagram can kind of be a highlight reel, but I think part of it is I still remember my dad as a kid used to always call me tenacious. And I think that was his really kind word of like, you're really stubborn. And when you want something, you're going to get it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was like a very kind way of him to say that. So I do think I have kind of an innate drive to just not quit, right? Which serves us in the marathon, serves us in building businesses and juggling all the things. But that aside, I've had people tell me, I'm a hard charger, like I don't relax enough, I don't balance things enough, go to a counselor to try to help you balance all these things. And I'm just like,
I've never heard any of those things, so I can't relate at all. Yeah, I'm just completely being facetious, Meghann. I've heard all of those things, so I feel this deeply.
Right. Like you'd run through that wall if somebody told you to, that there was something good on the other side, So I'm glad I'm talking to like-minded people because sometimes people look at me like I'm absolutely bonkers. So I preface all of that with like the days are crazy, right? I mean, my kids are still in elementary school. So getting them up, getting them to school, like I've just started ever since they were born, I started working out before work just because it's like there's no other time. Like I used to kind of juggle between like after work, before work, mostly after work because I really like to sleep in. Right. Once you have kids, it's like forget sleep. Like it's just we're not doing there's no balance there. So I always get up and run first thing in the morning. Usually before they're awake. Now that they're getting older, they sometimes wake up while I'm running. But and then, it's by the time you get the kids to school in the morning, it's like you've had a full day because you've been up since 4:30 and the stress of, someone's socks don't match or they can't find their shirt, right? There's just a million things that come up. And by the time they're at school at 8:30, it's like deep breath. Okay, now the work day starts, and then you're juggling, trying to get in. Like I love the flexibility of working for myself so that I can walk my kids down the street to school and pick them up. Like that's really important to me to be involved in all that stuff. But that also means there's 6.5, 7 hours that we're trying to squeeze a 10-hour day into, while they're gone. Yeah. And then maybe doing work after we've fed them dinner and they're sitting at sports and I'm on the sideline, like clicking away on my laptop, looking antisocial to all the other mothers.
But just getting it done.
Yeah. It's just, you just figure it out somehow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And are you running like the same distance every morning? Does it oscillate if you're training for something, or what does that look like?
It does. And I used to pay running coaches way back in the day. And now one of my really good friends that we have a podcast with, she coaches me. So she just like puts it all in. And that's just one thing, like what can we offload in life? The one thing is I probably could figure out what I need to run and when for my goals, but just opening up that app in the morning and being like, okay, I need to do that. It's just one thing that then you just go do it. So it varies. There's like a workout day and a long run day, and then like 3 just easy runs. And then I take one day totally off on Fridays. And then I have one day that I cross train just to try to stay healthy as I get older.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to talk about the morning really quickly. I want to like derail from the questions. Because we're morning worker-outers too, and we have kids that don't sleep. So clearly there's a husband at home that is allowing you to do this because you go no matter what. I mean, I follow you. You're always posting your long runs and it's unbelievable. And you go out, rain or shine, anything, you're like out there. It's unbelievable. But you said 4:30. Because I'm like a logistics person. I like love to know the nitty gritty. So you're like up at 4:30. Are you drinking coffee and having a breakfast? Because you talk a lot about your fueling, which we'll get into. So like at what point are you actually like getting outside? And then what time are you coming in? Because I swear my kids, I could get up at 3 a.m. and by 3:10, they're like peeking out the bedroom door like, oh, mom's awake. Like it's just impossible. So
they have like this mommy sense.
They do. Yeah, the mommy radar is insane.
So you've done this for years now. It's just innate, right? Like this is just your body. Like you have that.
I hate it. I wear an aura and it's like, oh, you're a morning person. I was like, no, I'm not. I would sleep till 11 if you let me every day. But like, that's not an option these days. So I've just kind of trained myself to like go to sleep after I put the kids to bed most nights and then get up early. But my husband teaches high school, so he has to be out of the house at 6:40. So that's hence during the school year why I have to get up when I do so that I'm back before he leaves for work. In the summer, you might have seen the pictures are posted a little later because I could sleep in a little bit more, but then it's hot. So anyways, so yes, I wake up. Usually it's like 4:30. Maybe sometimes I can get away with sleeping until 5 if I can get out the door. But and then yes, coffee. Like again, not a morning person. Like I think I would face plant on the sidewalk that has a lip in it like a centimeter if I didn't have coffee because I'm just not awake yet. And then graham crackers. I literally go downstairs, grab the box of graham crackers with my coffee, stumble back upstairs, sit back in bed. Yes, I eat my graham crackers in bed and then scoot the crumbs out of them. Or shake them off my PJs. So then that's where that came in because I can always eat graham crackers no matter if I'm hungry or not or what time of the morning it is. So just to do that. And then usually it takes me about a half hour to get out the door. I wish I could get out sooner, but I can't. Like I really am not awake when that alarm goes off. So then I head out and run, come back. As I'm making the kids breakfast, I feed myself. That's the one thing that is probably a horrible trait. I can't remember the last time I sat down and ate a meal. It's like flyby.
Yes.
It really is.
I found myself doing that last night. I had made the kids dinner and I'm just standing next to them.
Yes.
I'm like, why do you not go the 2 extra feet and just sit next to them at the counter? But it's like, I'm going to be between here and the refrigerator getting milk or putting a dish, whatever.
They need this, they need that. Yeah.
What's the point? What's the point in sitting?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
okay, that makes me feel better because I do find a lot of people are like, how do you get up every day at 5 a.m. to work out? I'm like, I'm not happy about it. I'm just doing it. Like, it's not like it's easy for me to do it. I just have trained myself that I know this is not going to feel good, but in 20 minutes, I'm going to feel better. It also helps that you're extremely fast. So you can get lots of miles in shorter time. We're like, I can't do that. Okay. But anyway, so most of our listeners, well, I don't know. A lot of our listeners, I think, prioritize fitness, but I think most of them are moms. What have you learned about your own motherhood journey and fueling yourself and maybe working with clients? Like, what does that look like? Like, we just actually had somebody on here to talk about postpartum and like identifying like what it feels like to be underfueled postpartum wise. But now we're adding like working out. Like, you literally changed the way I felt during my marathon running.
Oh, good.
And I did not, I'm not training for anything right now and I'm trying to weightlift more. And I did a 4-mile race. I live in Brooklyn in Central Park. And I ran faster than I like ever thought I could. And then I just said, I'm only 4 miles from home. I'll just run home. But I had maybe 1 graham cracker, no gels. I came home and later that day, I thought I had ran a marathon. Like, and I was like, that's because I'm not trained and I'm underfueled. I don't think a lot of our listeners are intense runners, but what could you like help a listener in terms of how to even begin thinking about fueling, whether it's you're literally doing low impact working out, you're running, you're training, you're going to Pilates. I don't know. I think it's all important of the fuel is something I don't think we talk a lot about. And I think a lot of us were raised in times where like less is more,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're
Mm-hmm.
learning like, no, you're allowed to eat a lot if you're
Yeah.
working out. So how has that looked in motherhood
Yeah.
specifically?
Right. And I totally agree with you. I mean, I think that's probably also why I was intrigued by this major is because I watched what my mom and all her friends did in the 90s. I was like a 6 and 7-year-old, I was just like, what is that? Like, what is right when it comes to nutrition? And I think we still are probably trying to figure that out. But to your point, more is actually more when it comes to nutrition. And regardless of how much someone is moving their bodies, I think the thing that I see with a lot of women is we're just not even giving credit to our bodies and how much energy we need to just be running around after kids, working, trying to juggle that all. And even if we were laying in bed all day, we're still burning a significant amount of energy. And I think a lot of people, depending on where they are in their fitness journey, either compare to where they have been, or I'm not doing that much, or compared to so-and-so, I'm not doing that much. So we just kind of undervalue how much nutrition our body actually needs. And it's the other thing is when I work with women a lot, I'm trying to equate like what we're feeling to what we've done with our nutrition. So like a lot of women will start to feel very anxious and very irritable. And then when we look at things, it's like they don't have anxiety. They haven't eaten in 6 hours. Like they're going 6 to 8 hours in the morning without eating. And it's like their body is literally just responding instead of a grumbly tummy because they ignored that for years and years and years. So it just quit grumbling.
Yeah.
But they feel it in like an anxiety or like an irritability or a fatigue. Or so sometimes it's helping connect like some of the symptoms that we don't always connect with underfueling to someone personally, and then helping them figure out how to fuel their day a little bit more evenly instead of going so long without eating and then eating a massive dinner and then having heartburn and having trouble sleeping, but really trying to like spread that out more evenly throughout the day around a workout. If they're not working out, even still, like our body has had no fuel overnight. Like we need to eat in the morning to give our body and our minds the patience to deal with all the craziness in the morning, getting kids where they need to go before our day starts, And I think we just don't put enough credit to the connection that nutrition can have with how we feel and how we operate on a day-to-day basis.
100%.
I mean, nothing is more irritating to me than when my husband's like, you need to eat something.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like,
don't you tell me.
And then I'm like, yeah, I absolutely do. I'm like so unhinged right now. I know for a fact, or it's like, it shows up as brain fog. I think irritability with the kids is one that I can really see where I'm like, no, I'm actually just hungry. And like, I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Okay. If you're doing your everyday jam, you're running in the morning, then you're working, like, what does a day of fueling look like for you?
So immediately 2 cups of coffee, 3 to 4 graham crackers, more if I'm running long, and then out the door. And then when I get back, I've gotten in this habit recently. I'm really horrible with protein. And now that I'm 42, like protein is really important. Like I really don't know how I shriveled up and didn't die the first 20 years of my life because I'm fairly certain I had like 2 grams of protein a day. I kid, but like it's bad. So anyways, I've gotten into this habit because I just struggle so much in the morning with time and protein that I have those Nuri protein shakes. They're like 30 grams from Costco, like vanilla ones in the fridge. So as soon as I walk in the door, I take my sweaty hat that's dripping all over and shoes off, grab one of those, chug it, throw my toast in the toaster, and then kind of get kids situated and then eat my toast. So it's almost always...
So it's protein and carb then together. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that pairing is super important post.
Especially after a workout. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then too, like if somebody's not working out, it's still really important to start the day with some whole grains with the carbs and protein and the fiber from the whole grains. And then the protein is actually what helps keep us fuller longer throughout the day. So if somebody has like 3 or 4 p.m. like snack attacks all the time, it feels like they want to eat the whole kitchen rather than like focusing right in there. We actually have to kind of rewind and restructure what breakfast look like because that actually can cascade into the choices later in the day. So, regardless of how someone's moving their body, it is really important to get fiber and protein at breakfast.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So then what about after, like so you've learned your breakfast, then does your lunch and dinner kind of like, what's the word, mellow out, I guess? Or are you still like active? Okay.
Yeah, it definitely varies. I almost always have 2 to 3 snacks a day too, like to kind of bridge the gap between just because I'm just hungry all the time. Not hungry all the time, but just I like that even fueling throughout the day. Like I can't remember the last time I felt the way I was just describing, about people going too long without eating, because it's like I just know this is how I operate the best. So I have like different granola bars or yogurt with granola or, I really like cheese sticks. Like I'll grab a couple of cheese sticks and like a handful of crackers and come back to my office or things like that. And then lunch and dinner vary. I do love making dinner. It's just, to be fair, 2 or 3 times a week is probably all that I actually accomplish with that. Yeah. And the other nights, it's like throwing things together that's either leftovers or something from the freezer.
Totally.
Yeah. My kids are on this tear of it's like one of those like Uncrustable makers, that like makes your own, but they've been making pizzas in them and putting them in the air fryer. So, I mean, like we're on like a tear of like 2 to 3 nights a week. That's what they want for dinner. So like when I have no plans, I'm like, sure, let's make pizzas. And they love to do it and help me with it. And so we're taking the easy button some nights.
I love asking our guests about like mom dinner hacks, and you just answered that. Like, because we're always on here talking about like, how do we have to feed them 3 times a day and ourselves? No. And we like, I'm so glad you mentioned protein, because I was like, my go-to actually is like fat or carbs. I've just learned in my like I'm not going to grab a meat stick. Literally no, thank you. But I'm going to grab a cracker or like some peanut butter. But yeah, there are times when I'm like, I think I've had 25 grams of protein today. And that is not okay. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do want to talk really quickly about the carb loading, only because, again, I don't want to be super niche, but I think carbs are important no matter what. We grew up with a bad rap on carbs. And I think carbs are confusing, because you hear carbs give you energy. Your body holds on to carbs too long. Like, it's just so confusing. And my carb loading that I followed with your calculator online, which was incredible, and all your amazing diagrams. I mean, truly, you guys have to go to her Instagram if you haven't already.
We'll link all of it.
It's like, if you have a 20 or less than 70-minute run, you only need these amount of carbs. Like, it's just really fascinating. I was eating so many bagels leading up to the New York City Marathon. Like, yes. I think I texted Lucy one day. I was like, I think I'm on 350 grams of carbs today, and I want to explode.
She was like, I am unwell. I cannot eat another carb today, and I'm not even close to being done.
I was like, how do people? And then you talk a lot about like, you just got what anyway. And guess what? I like didn't hit that wall that you talked about. I hit a wall because my legs had to run up you've ran New York City, right? Yeah. The last
3 times.
There's like this gradual hill at mile 23 or 22.
It's horrible.
Horrible. So like my body.
Is this when I saw you?
Yes.
Is that right around?
That's the cruelest place to spectate. Like please don't take photos of me right now.
People looked very rough. It was a rough place for sure.
Like getting chills thinking about how horrible that felt. But anyway, I didn't hit the like wall that I thought I was going to hit. So can you just talk a little bit about carbs and energy and like the importance of it? Again, even if you're somebody who's not working out super intense like a marathon runner all the way up, I just kind of want to talk about it, because I think we've grown up with like carbs are scary, carbs are bad, but in reality, they give you energy.
Yeah. In reality, carbs are the preferred fuel source of our muscles and our brain. So our brain runs the fastest, the quickest when we have carbs to fuel it. Obviously, we know we can fuel it with fat, with ketones, right? Ketogenic diet, Atkins, all that kind of stuff. We don't die if we don't have carbs. Right. But our brains don't work super well. And if anyone has tried like a low carb diet, they feel crazy brain fog as their body is getting used to using those ketones. And then anytime you kick yourself out of ketosis and come back to carbs, and it's just all over again. So like it's like really a mind F, literally, because our brain is like, what are you giving me to fuel me? And people who are on it for a long time sometimes say that they do actually feel okay after they've weaned, quote unquote, weaned themselves off carbs. Personally, I could never, ever even think about getting to that point, because my brain feels so much better and my body feels so much better when it just has carbs. And to your point, they're not the enemy, right? Yeah. We see all these people out there wearing these continuous glucose monitors, trying to like biohack their blood sugar. And it's like our bodies, as long as we're healthy and we have a healthy pancreas, our bodies know what to do with carbs. Our insulin, is, our blood sugar is going to go up, our insulin's going to bring it down, but that's normal body physiology, right? So I think we have so many different facets of conversations that have made people think carbs are bad. To your point, Sam, when you were saying like if someone isn't eating carbs and then they do, we're storing those as glycogen, just like the carb load that you talked about, and we store glycogen as carbs in water. So of course we increase our weight a little bit, right? So then these people are just equating like carbs with bad, whereas when we like really look at the biology of our body, it thrives off of carbohydrates, especially from a performance standpoint. So people who don't know or choose not to scale carbs up when they're going to a HIIT class at the gym or going to a cycle bar class or even to like a high intensity like reformer Pilates class, right? Like we're using carbohydrates. You feel really sluggish. You don't feel like you can keep up. You're like, how are these other people doing this? And I'm not. Like you just don't have the energy going to your brain and your muscles to be able to function. And then same thing goes for like everyday life when we cut carbs back too low. So for me, it's like really a balance. And sure, there's some people that maybe were a little more careful with carbs depending on their medical history and things like that. But it's never none, right? Like people are always shocked. Like the lowest I'll go is like 45 grams of carbs at a meal for somebody who needs to be careful. I'm like, that's still like a sandwich and a piece of fruit, right? Like that's still carbs. So I think, and then to your point, Sam, with the carb load, the more we're running, the more our carbohydrate needs increase. So the more cardio we're doing, so it could be somebody biking or swimming. It doesn't just have to be running. Our carbohydrate demands just astronomically increase because that's the preferred fuel source, right, of our muscles. And our bodies are using that all day. So if our goal is good performance, if we're cutting carbs, we're spinning our wheels. We're putting all this time and energy into training, but we're not actually advancing our fitness because we don't have the fuel there to support it and to recover from it. And people just end up feeling lousy and burn out if they don't scale, those carbs with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
I feel like that leads in perfectly to my little case study. We're going to call it a case study. So I don't think I'm ever going to be you or Sam. I don't have that innate desire to run a marathon. I don't know why. It's just
crazy. It's not normal.
It's not there for me. I love to work out every single day. It's like a big part of who I am. That's just like not in my DNA. But I will say last year I discovered how fun triathlons are. And there's a little one in our town that's like a sprint tri that I did last year. I shocked myself at all the facets. A, how much I loved it. B, how well I did, like all the things. So it's coming up again in a couple weeks. So I'm training right now. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'm at a fitness level where I don't necessarily need to train. I could go out and do it. But now I'm like, I want to do better than I did last year. I want to beat myself by a long haul, like all the things. When I say that I don't know anything about how one fuels for that length of a thing, I'm being very honest. I'm like the week before, I'm like, Sam, what do like the only time I can think that I would fuel at all during this would be when I'm getting my bike shoes off and like starting the run. So it's a short swim, 12-mile ride, 3-mile run. And so I had Sam was like, just try fruit snacks. I think you would like fruit snacks. So I had 3 little bites of a fruit snack before I ran after the run. And that's all I did. I want to do a lot better in all the things this year. What the heck am I doing, Meghann?
I love this. Okay, first of all, I could never run a marathon. Lucy, you're addicted to a sprint tri. You're going to be doing a half Ironman here. Give it a couple years.
Yeah, I know. I was very close to doing a full this year, but it really went against not a full Ironman, a full triathlon, just to see how it
Olympic,
went.
Yeah.
But the timing of training just unhinged me when I was working with Claude on like, how do you get ready for this? And it was scary. So anyways, I will probably be there soon, I would imagine.
You will.
So,
I think so. Yeah. No, but I agree. I think making sure you're eating a good breakfast beforehand and mostly carbs. So that could be a bagel with whatever topping you like. It could be a bunch of graham crackers. It could be a couple bowls of cereal, a few pieces of toast. Making sure you're having something like 2 hours out from the start, I think is huge. And then obviously making sure you're going in hydrated. But I wonder, I have 2 kind of thoughts on it. Is our transition between all the disciplines in the same spot? Like, do you go back to, okay, good.
Yeah.
So you could leave like a bottle with Gatorade, Scratch, Tailwind, something that has some carbs and sodium and obviously hydration. You could leave it there and drink it between both. Or you could leave it on your bike. 12 miles, I'm not sure you're really going to want to fuss with the bottle though. So my thought was
No,
kind
I'm
of leave
very
it.
klutzy. So I
Okay,
try to
we'll
keep
leave it at the
tight,
transition.
so I am not just falling
Yeah.
straight off that bike. So,
Yeah. So I would put like a 24-ounce bottle with like a serving of some sort of carb beverage in there for the hydration, the sodium, all that. And then, yeah, I would get like, whether it's fruit snacks or a bag of, there's like Noogs or salt stick chews or scratch chews, and try to get most of the bag down, or maybe half the bag. And then.
And you think in between the bike and the run, would that be the place you would do it? Okay.
Yeah. And then get some good, I would probably try to get some really good swigs of the fluid before the bike, because you have more time to digest it when you're in that position on the bike versus running. But yeah, I think you could get away with that.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow it to the letter of the law, because I'm nothing if not dutiful. So I am going to follow it and see what happens. But yeah, that's super, super helpful.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I want to ask a real quick question too. Sorry, I keep pivoting because you say things. I want to talk about salt really quickly and water.
Because you say things. I love
that.
I love it. Me too.
I'm like, wait, you just said something about salt. And I'm noticing you're in Cleveland, you said?
Yeah.
I'm in New York City and Lucy's in Indiana. The humidity can be rough. And I'm not a big sweater, but I have noticed recently how much I'm craving salty things. I'm more of a sweet craver. And I'm like, this has to be because I'm sweating so much. And so you talk a lot about that too. So like water is not just the thing that we should be using to fuel hydration. And again, we're not talking about you have to be this extreme distance runner, because I'm not. Like, you're an extreme distance runner. I run a marathon. I've ran 2 in my life, and I'll sometimes just go for 5 miles. Like, that's my day to day. But I still feel it, you still feel it if you're just doing that. So really quickly, can you talk about the importance of like the sodium?
Exactly. And it's so individualized. So like I only ran, 6 miles this morning, but I was soaked. Like my shorts were soaked, my top was soaked. Like I'm a very heavy, salty sweater. So there is testing that you can do to see like how salty are you and how much fluid do you lose? Like for people who really want to like hone it in and make sure that they're not overshooting it, but not undershooting it, So personally, I have a bottle here with 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 40 ounces of fluid that I'm like, you got to get that down before lunch, right? Because I know how much I was sweating this morning. So I kind of tell people to kind of assess like how much are you sweating. In the winter, I don't do that, right? Because I'm not sweating as much, which is fine unless you're on a treadmill. But it is true that our sweat, typically, like when we look at a runner, if you lose 2 pounds on the scale of sweat, which is about a liter, most people lose around 900 milligrams of sodium. So if you're soaked, dripped when you get back, like you're losing probably a liter an hour is kind of how I tell people. Like if you're like barely glistening, which it's all genetic. So some people just glisten. Totally. Some people take showers like I do while you're out on a run. So, you've got to know yourself and know how to kind of recoup that. So I'm always like, for every hour I'm out there, I need 1,000 milligrams at least of sodium to replace it, So totally. If we don't replace those sodium losses when we are a heavy sweater, no matter what we're doing to sweat, whether we're working in the yard, right? Whether we're at a gym class, whether we're out there running, biking, swimming, whatever it is, we end up not fully rehydrating and we end up feeling really crummy. Like our muscles get more sore. Yeah. Sometimes we have a lot of nausea, decreased appetite, GI issues. And then 2, it's just faster way to replenish that fluid in our body. If we have some carbs and sodium with that fluid, just water alone takes a little bit longer to replace that, which sounds kind of crazy. But when you're sweating, like we are in this crazy humid weather right now, it's important that we rehydrate quickly before the next time that we're working out.
Totally. Yeah.
Last question. What would you say, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, like what is the number one nutrition mistake that women are making?
Honestly, I think most women are underfueling for what they're asking their bodies to do, or fueling unevenly throughout the day. Like maybe they're getting enough energy by the time they go to bed, but it's very top heavy at the end of the day. They're not getting enough during the day. Both of those spectrums can really screw with our bodies, right? With our hormones, with how we feel, with our mental health, with, so many different things within our body, that it's just so important to really try to come up with a strategy that works for you individually to fuel your body evenly from the moment you wake up till you go to bed. I'm not a fan at all of fasting for women. I think it's really important that we give our body what it needs when it needs it, not just ignoring it all day and then eating the whole
Yeah.
kitchen cupboard and massive dinner at night, right?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the best way to maintain body composition as we get older. So I think,
Such
there's
good advice.
all different pockets of life where women tend to restrict, right? Postpartum, perimenopause, postmenopause, right? There's all these times in our lives that, our bodies change and we don't know how to address it. And diet culture says just eat less, which is not my recommendation, right? Let's optimize what we're eating and when we're eating, get enough protein, make sure we're getting total energy intake, and all those types of things. And our body's going to be where it's supposed to be, not where, we necessarily it was before or where we want it, but it's going to be the best place that it can be for us. And that's where physically and mentally we're going to be the most sound through all, facets of life.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just going to replay that again and again. That was like such an articulate description. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. If you want to play like a little rapid fire, they're very like this or that style questions, but up your alley. And I'm curious to hear, but you already kind of answered the first one, but protein or carbs?
Like, carbs.
Yeah. You kind of already answered that.
All day, every day.
Because you're in Cleveland, running in heat or snow?
Oh, man. I hate them both. I like 3
fall.
weeks out of the spring and 3 weeks out of the fall.
Yes.
No, snow, I really worry about ice and falling like that. So I don't love that. So I guess I would probably have to choose heat, even though I sweat like a monster. So heat is final answer.
Are you out running in like reflectors and lights and stuff when you're out there early in the morning?
No, and my dad gets really mad at me because he lives 2 houses down.
And he watches.
Like, where's that reflector?
Yeah. Okay, because it's dark at 5 a.m.
It is. Yeah.
You also kind of answered this: sunglasses or hat or both?
Both, always. Well, always a hat because I sweat, keeps it out of my eyes. And then sunglasses if the sun's up, for sure.
Okay, and then what is your favorite race that you've ran?
My favorite race ever, I think, was the London Marathon. And I will probably never get back into it in my life with the odds.
Gosh. That sounds so fun.
It was
Forgive me, I
fun.
don't know the odds. Are the odds, like, is it as hard as New York City?
It was like less than 1%, I believe. They actually doubled it. And next year, it's a 2-day event. They're going to do Saturday and Sunday. And I calculated those odds. And those odds were like 2%, 2.5%.
Oh my gosh.
Something crazy. Yeah. So I got a big rejection. No, thank you. You won't be running this year.
Oh my gosh, was it so great? Just like the energy, the town, like.
So you've run New York.
Yeah.
So you know, like the hype of New York and the excitement of New York. The crowds were that plus a little more.
Really?
But it's a pretty flat course.
Okay.
And I got a very cool day and the sights were gorgeous. Like it was the first time I'd been in London. I mean, it was just beautiful. All the things you were seeing, like Tower Bridge. And then there was something, I'm going to blank on what it was, down by the water. Like it just such cool sights to see. And then the energy was amazing. And then it felt like no one who was running was really taking it that seriously, which is kind of fun. Like clearly we were. Like I ran a good race. Like I was surrounded by like good runners, but lots of people dress up in costumes. And so even in like, you know, up where I was, where people were running fairly speedy, like there was like Superman by me and the Hulk by me. And I'm like, how fun is this?
Amazing.
Like, let's not take ourselves so seriously, Americans. Like
Totally.
It was just such a cool vibe. Everybody was just so laid back. Like even the start line was laid back. So it was, just the whole thing was like awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Love that. Favorite gel brand or goo? I don't know where you land on these.
Yes, Morton is what works for me.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, it tastes like a Jell-O shot. It makes me gag. But like for whatever reason, the thicker consistency of it like reminds me like, hey, we should swallow this like while we're running, you know, like it helps me. And then there's no flavor. It's just sweet, which is good for me. Like the flavor, it just gets to be too much. So I use Morton's.
I'm so grateful they came out. I use that for this. You know, I did the classic. I tested a lot out and Morton was the only thing. But still, we actually just had a person we interviewed a couple weeks ago, a fitness. We haven't released her yet. And we were talking about gels. And Lucy said at the same time, both of us were like, oh, like just at a certain point, we're just like, if we have to eat another gel. So I do like the like blandness of the Morton. But what I can't stand is it gets so warm.
Yes.
Oh, it's like, could I like freeze these? I don't know.
Right.
It's just by like mile 18, they're like hot and sweaty and it's literally just horrible. But
my first few marathons, I used Chews. Well, not the first one. We know I took half a gel in the first one. But once I knew I was supposed to be fueling, I used Chews because I didn't like the whole gel texture and stuff, but it's just so hard to chew enough of them while you're out there that I was like, this isn't sustainable. You need to put on your big girl pants and try some gels again.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about your favorite running shoe right now? I wonder if it switches. Are you loyal? How does that work for you?
So I'm lucky because the work that I do for our podcast is with a shoe review company, Believe in the Run. So I am very lucky that I do certain brands will send me stuff to try. So otherwise, if I had to buy it, I'd probably buy the same pair of shoes over and over and over. Again. But I've got some arthritis in my big toes, so I need some support. I need some help, or I end up making my Achilles and calves really, really mad. So like now that the plated daily trainers came out, that's kind of my go-to, a little plate with a lot of cushion. So New Balance Super Comp trainers were my go-to for a few years. And then recently, Mizuno has Neo Vista 3 that has a plastic plate, I think. That's what I ran in this morning. I'm really enjoying that one. And then when we went to Boston, Adidas released the Hyper Boost, which actually doesn't have a plate. So I'm shocked that it works for my goofy feet, but it's like really cushiony. It's almost like marshmallowy. Like it's a ton of cushion underfoot. So like when my legs are tired, I always go to the Adidas Hyper Boost.
So you prefer a thicker cushion?
I do.
Okay.
The more chonk, the better.
Interesting. Okay. I'm the opposite, but again.
Don't take my advice then. You won't like what I like.
Well, I'm going to go try all of them because I prefer to be floating on clouds. So
I need all the support I can get. Yeah, all the help.
Well, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
So great meeting you. All
Happy
running,
guys. Awesome. We could talk for hours.
Bye.
I know. Bye.